Hello, hello. Okay, this is your sketch project that's happening. At this point, you should have finished your sketch. You have your background photo of the person you're honoring, and you have then created a transparent layer and you've traced on your transparent layer. The next step is to add a background and text. So imagine that this is finished. My sketch is not totally finished, but you can also actually add some finishing touches to it to make it more blended or make it look kind of more interesting. So I'll show you a couple of those tools too right now. So for instance, say like I want to make this hat portion of my sketch a little bit more interesting. I can use my selection tool right here, not the magic wand this time, but this time the quick selection tool to highlight just specific areas of my photo. So I'm going to use my quick select tool right here and select down. It looks like, and you see how now the hat is selected. I can then come up to filters, and there are a whole bunch of filters that you can experiment with. Remember, it doesn't matter if you apply one, you can always undo it. So just mess around with it and you can make it more, I guess, artsy, as they say, right? So maybe I want to make this hat look more like mosaic-like. Let's practice and see what that looks like. If I choose a mosaic filter, I can make the hat look a little bit more interesting, right? So you're now going to kind of use these different blending options and filters to create a style for your piece. I don't really like that mosaic, so I'm just going to close out and I'm going to come back up to the filters and I'm going to choose something else. Maybe in stylize, remember we talked about oil paint for the challenge. You can choose oil paint and move your box over so that you can see what you're doing. And maybe I want the hat to look more like it's oil paint style. I don't know, is that doing anything to it? I can't tell. Some of the filters aren't going to work the way you want them to. So if it's not, just click out of them and try a different filter. Let's go up. Let's go to the blur and let's go to the Gaussian blur. That's what Justin Eccles, who's the student who came to talk to us, that's the filter he likes to use, Gaussian blur. Okay, so you notice what happened to the hat. It got a little bit like, so it went from being very clear to kind of some more blur. That's how you can blend different areas of your piece. So I kind of like that. I'm going to say, okay, that's the filter I want to use. Then maybe I might come down with my quick select tool, select his shirt, hold down shift to get all of his shirt. And then maybe I'm going to go up to filters. I might either add another blur, or I could do maybe what's emboss do. Let's see what that does. Emboss. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so it kind of adds a new layer on top. I'm going to Command Z because what happened is when I selected the shirt, I still had his hat selected. So I want to undo what I just did by just clicking out of there. And before I select his shirt, I need to make sure I come up to select, deselect, so nothing is selected, right? I finished blurring out the hat. Now I'm going to come back to my quick select. Then I can select the shirt, hold down shift, get all of it. Now I can apply a different layer to this section, right? I liked mosaic. Mosaic's pretty cool. What does solarize do? Solarize. Okay, that turned it black and white. Maybe I like that. Command Z will undo. Just experiment till you find one that you really like. If you want to add some filters to it. Fragment. No. Pixelate. I do kind of like mosaic. I might turn this shirt into like a mosaic looking thing. Although the mosaic doesn't work really well with just white, just one tone. So, all right. So I'm just gonna maybe add another blur to this one, get the shirt so it's kind of blended together. Hit OK. All right. So imagine that is finished. Now the next step is that you're going to add a background, right? Because eventually we're going to delete the photo layer. So to add another layer, you're going to come down to your little layer button down here, click on layer, or you can go layer, new layer. Whoop, you got it. Layer, new layer. Okay. The layer, if it doesn't drop down right underneath your transparent layer, just drag it down so that your layer, it should be like this. Layer 1 is going to be your sketch. And then layer 2 is going to be your background. And I'm just call it background 1. The background is actually going to be called, this is actually your photo. So that's the order, right? Your photo, your background, and your sketch. Okay. So now I'm working on my background layer. If I select this background layer, make sure it's selected. Don't select your sketch. This time you're on your background. If I want to add a background to this, I can do a couple things. One, I can just go get my paint bucket tool, which is hiding under this gradient tool right here. And I can select the color that I want in my background. And I can just click anywhere. Oops, undo. Oh, you know why I did that? That actually is kind of cool. It did an outline on the shirt because I still had the shirt selected. So I'm going to Command Z. I'm going to go to select, deselect. Now I'm going to use my paint bucket tool with the purple. Click down. It will change my background purple. Okay. Command Z undoes. Another thing you can do is instead of just a solid background, you can do a gradient. So maybe I want to do a gradient with the purple. If I drag, basically you need to tell the computer which direction you want the gradient to go. So maybe I want it to shade purple from top to bottom. I just draw down that line and notice how it kind of shades it out. Command Z, or I can do my gradient horizontally if I want, from left to right, or I can even do it crosswise. Okay, Command Z undoes. And then the other thing is there are some other options that are already kind of pre-selected up here. So I can maybe grab one of those and draw my line, and maybe that looks good to me. Okay, so I think I'm going to stick with that. Next step is to add text. So the T tool is your text. I'm going to do your text tool here, double click, and you're writing out the name of your person, Trayvon Martin, and his age. And then what you want to do is highlight your text. You can change the size up here, make sure it looks good, the style's good. You can change the color of your text. I'm going to stick with white. I kind of like the white. And you can change your font style up top here. It's a whole bunch of fonts to choose from. So make sure it's something that really works with your design. It stands out, it looks good. I'm going to probably stick with the font that I have right now because I've already experimented for a little while. Or maybe that one looks good. Okay, so Trayvon Martin. And then if you want to move it around the screen, your mouse, if you hover over your text tool, your mouse will turn into a crosshair. That's how you know you can move it around the screen. So I'm going to do that. It looks a little big. I might do like that, Trayvon Martin, although I don't really like that font. So just go back, experiment, take your time, find something that you really like, that looks good and is going to honor the person that you want to show for your sketch. Okay, let's see. Just for the sake of picking something right now, I will do this one right there. Okay, so we got Trayvon Martin. And then the next thing you want to add is a quote about them. So you can, again, get your text tool and you're going to add a quote or something they've said to you or something you want to say about the person. Look at your planning document. That was the purpose of the planning document. Like if I say rest in power, and then again, you can move it around the screen where you want it. You can change the font style. You can change the color up here. And you have to click off of the text to be able to see your progress. And the other thing you could do is if you highlight your text, you can come up to this button that says warp, and you can actually change the direction of the font or the text. So you can make it look like a wave. You can do a fisheye. You can squeeze it together. I like the wave tool. It kind of changes the image, and then you can work with these different sliders to get it to look like exactly what you want it to look like. Let's do that. Power is going to be large. Okay, and click off of it and keep highlighting it and changing the color till you get it the way you want it. Maybe I'll go, actually I like black. Let's do black. Okay, and click off to see what you're doing, and maybe I wanted to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, that's how you would add text. You can also add backgrounds to text by coming to, this is a little bit more advanced, but right below the text tool is this free pen. If I select free pen, I can draw like any kind of shape that I want. And I can then either fill it in with a solid color. And then, so right now we can't see the text because the text layer is below it. But if I raise the text layer up top, that's going to be shaded in the background. And then select that shape tool again. You can come up to fill, and maybe I want to make it more of that gradient, or maybe I would like to change the gradient to purple. That looks a little bit better to me. There's lots of different options that you can do there. So just experiment till you get it to exactly how you want this to be. This is going to be for your exhibition, so take your time, make it look good. And then again, when you're done, after you've added your background and your text and your quote or whatever it is you want to say about the person, then you want to go and do File, Export as JPEG, and this is what you will attach as your final project. And you're going to click Save. Now, before you do that, I just realized the last step you want to do is you actually have to delete the photo layer. So you either delete it or you just shut off the photo layer by turning off the eyeball on that photo, so that you're just left with your sketch and your person. Okay? We love you, Trayvon. Good luck, you guys.